This video describes how to create a new form in Sitecore. Before watching this video, you should have already taken an introductory Sitecore class. As a note, I'm using Sitecore version 8.1. You may notice slight differences if you are using a newer or older version. Let's get started. Log into Sitecore and click on the Content Editor. Find the Web Forms folder in the content tree on the left-hand side of the screen. Open it by clicking on the black triangle icon. It may take several seconds to load. If you don't see the Web Forms folder, make sure that you aren't searching for it in the Home folder. That's the part of Sitecore that contains web pages. The Web Forms folder is in a separate location. If you still don't see it, your Sitecore permissions may need to be updated. Contact the help desk for assistance. Once you're inside the Web Forms folder, you should see a structure that resembles the SMU website. For example, here's a folder for About SMU, one for Admission. Find the folder that belongs to your school or department and expand it. You may see additional folders or individual forms. Forms are represented by this paper icon. If you don't see a folder associated with your department, OIT will likely need to create the folder for you and assign you permissions to work in that folder. Contact the help desk for assistance. Before we go any further, I'm going to open a sample form so that you can get an idea of how a completed form looks in Sitecore. This particular form contains several fields and two sections, the Team Information section and the Nominator Information section. There are different field types, single line, multi-line, email, and telephone, and each field is required. Now let's compare this to the finished product. Here are the two sections, Team Information and Nominator Information. The individual fields and the different field types, single line, multi-line, and if you remember, I was asking for an email address and a phone number. Sitecore is set up so that if you tell it to ask for an email address and the person tries to submit something different, it will give them a warning. Same for the phone number. Back to creating your form. In the content tree, right-click on the folder where you'd like to add your form and click Insert Form. If this option doesn't appear or if it's grayed out, your permissions may need to be updated. Contact the help desk and let them know what you are seeing. Pick a simple and meaningful name for your form. The name you pick won't show up anywhere on the web page, just in the content tree. Once you've named your form, you'll see some new options appear in the Content tab on the right-hand side of the page. You won't be using all of these, but there are some that you may want to change right off the bat. First, take a look at the Appearance section. If this section is collapsed, you can expand it by clicking on the gray bar. The first option is to add a title for your form. Notice there is a checkbox immediately below the section. If you leave this unchecked, the title will not appear. There is a section for an introduction and a section for a footer. The introduction shows up at the top of your form and is a great place for things such as instructions. Again, by default, it does not display. If you do not want to display a footer or an introduction section, leave these two areas unchecked. We're going to ignore the MVC-specific settings. Beneath Submit, take note of the success message. This is a message a person will see after they fill out the form. You may wish to customize this message. To begin adding fields to your form, look for the Form Designer button in the ribbon at the top of the page and click on it. This form does not contain any fields because it's a brand new form. You can begin adding fields using the green Add Field icon. The field title should be something like name, email address, or area of study. The form type should match the data you are collecting. Use a single-line text option to collect something short, such as a name. To collect something longer, such as comments, use the multiple line option. If you are collecting an email address or a phone number, use the email or the telephone number option. This will help ensure the person enters a valid email address or phone number. There are several other field types to consider. We won't cover them all in this video, but I'd like to show you how to set up one of the list type options because it's a bit different. In this example, I'll ask for a student's graduation year in a drop list. To edit one of the list types, click on the More icon, then add the individual options here. Click OK when you're finished. You have the option to make a field required, meaning the web page visitor won't be able to submit the form without filling out this particular field. You can also add a new section. When you do this, you'll need to add a title for the entire section, such as contact information or graduation year. If you don't do this, Sitecore won't save the form. And finally, to reorder fields, just drag them up or down. When you're finished, save and close the form. Then, you'll need to check in and publish the form. To check in the form, go to the Review tab at the top of the page and click Check In. To publish the form, click on the Publish tab, then Publish. Click Publish Item. Make sure that Publish Sub-Items is checked. Beneath the publishing targets, both Public and Stage should be checked. Click Publish, then OK. After this is done, you'll need to add the form to a page. The form exists in Sitecore, but it hasn't been added to a page yet, so you won't be able to preview it or fill it out until you do add it to a page. That will be covered in another video.